The coat in the closet belongs to the poor. The food in the pantry belongs to those who are needy. And we could quibble, and I know we can do this. We could quibble about, well, are they really needy? Are they, they're really the needy, or are we just, But at the end of the day, there are those. I can take you with me if you guys ever want to go out in Puyallup. There's a tent city in one of the forest areas in Puyallup. These people live in tents. Many of them with mental illness. And let's be honest, we have done a poor job of dealing with those who have mental illness. We medicate them. We have issues. I know. But what do? I can take you to tent cities in the Kitsap Peninsula where people are living in the woods. So we just turn a blind eye and say, well, okay, you know what? You got yourself into that situation, get yourself out. You just choose to be that way. Okay, that's one approach. I say we err on the side of generosity and kindness. Yeah. Let's err on that side.
Brent, but at some point, don't you have to just call BS on stuff? I mean, I'm going to give you an example because it really got me to the core. People that bought my house in Lacey, they were telling me about this altruistic endeavor they went on every single year. And they went to this great oratory on it about, we go to Egypt and we find every soup kitchen we can find, and we make sure we feed everybody. And I was like, too bad you couldn't find any poor and starving people here in the U.S. Sure. They were like, but no, I was like, yeah, it's really not that selfless.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking into pyramids and whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
But your friend, for example, to be innovative like that, to want to go out and actually do something like that, I guess from my perspective, coming from the reservation and living that life of degradation, where literally you're captive because you're indigent, independent. That there's nothing more soul-shattering to a man or a person or anybody than to not be able to get out and actually make something of yourself.
Oh, I agree.
Your brother's got you right there under his thumb.
And you and I agree on that.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing with you on that. We have to work through those issues as well. Those are big issues. Yeah.
I was just thinking, my family, my grandfather during the Depression, he had no education, and he came to this country in 1970, and he ended up getting push cart, and then he had his own vegetable markets, and he ended up supporting his whole family during the Depression because nobody had anything, so he felt that he's going to take care of his family. So I think that, that's to itself, whoever has should look at other people who have. Yeah, it was his family, but at least he did it, And I think that it used to be that poor people in this country, if you had a beggar knock on your door, you would invite them in to have a meal. It doesn't happen anymore because not only poor people are, and fear has taken over. But there are many generous people, but there are many who are afraid to be generous.
I'll give you an example of that kind of fear. I experienced it on our trip to Israel. Experienced this kind of fear. Marcus knows what I'm talking about. So Marcus is the kind of person that says, if there's a person hitchhiking, let's pick him up.
Whoa.
Well, not just anybody.
Yeah.
And so finally we said, well, okay, soldiers and who else did we say?
Soldiers and young women. I'm a dad. I wouldn't want my little girl out there. I mean, you're talking a 19, 20-year-old kid hiking in Israel. I mean, those other three got killed when we were there last year.
Yeah, so I was a little skittish about the idea of picking up hitchhikers. That's me. I admit that. It's like, okay, not overly thrilled with that idea.
Think how they feel once you start driving.
They had fear for their life and they had to ride with him. But Marcus was saying, hey, look, if we were in their situation, we'd want to ride. We want to be picked up and helped out to get from place to place. So it's a tough situation. I mean, what do you do? So, but there's people that were stuck way up in the mountains, some of these areas we were at, waiting on a bus that may not come for a long, long time, in some really serious weather. some hot weather. So there were people that, over the course of the time we gave rides to. But again, you have to overcome the fear and say, okay, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And err on the side of kindness and generosity.
Plus, you're a hunky piece of man meat. Nobody's going to touch you.
You're a bodyguard.
Yeah, he's a bodyguard.
I was safe as a hidden cow.
All right, Bill.
I feel safe for all